On November 9th, the world was treated to two shocking images that no one expected to see. The James Webb Telescope, in concert with the Virtual Telescope Project, released new images of the interstellar object now known as 3I Atlas, and what showed up in those frames left scientists speechless. Rather than sporting the anticipated features of an object heating up in proximity to the sun, no faint tail, no hint of dust, no trace of gas, it just looked like a condensed brilliant point of light. There was not even so much as a hint of outgassing, or cloud, which should accompany an object shedding billions of tons of material. More chilling, however, was how it hadn't changed at all. It looked identical to images taken in July by the Hubble Space Telescope. Something that was supposed to have shed more than 5 billion tons of mass due to extreme solar heating shouldn't look exactly the same. Its very consistency served as a visceral affront to everything astrophysicists understand about the behavior of comets. While some wrote this off as a quizzical anomaly, others felt it was something far larger. Avi Loeb, an astrophysicist at Harvard, went so far as to consider the whole thing a cosmic wake-up call. Because if these images are correct, if something is traversing the solar system without letting go of anything, then 3I Atlas may not be a comet. Maybe it was built. The mystery deepened in late October when astronomers detected something even more unusual. As 3I Atlas neared its closest point to the Sun, known as its perihelion, it began to accelerate instead of slowing down. Such behavior is impossible. According to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the object deviated from its projected orbit by 4 arcseconds, a tiny angle that at a distance of 203 million kilometers translated into a shift of tens of thousands of kilometers. That meant something immense was propelling it off its expected path. The calculations shocked mission analysts. The object was accelerating outward, away from the Sun, at 0.22 millimeters per second squared, while simultaneously drifting sideways at almost the same rate. Over the span of a month, this amounted to a displacement exceeding 80 kilometers, far too large to attribute to random variance. The same question began to be asked from observatories in Hawaii to those in Chile: what unseen force was pushing this object? The usual suspect, outgassing, didn't make any sense. To achieve that amount of acceleration, Atlas would have needed to expel at least a sixth of its entire mass in vaporized material, or roughly 5 billion tons. That would produce an enormous glowing halo visible, if not spectacular, even through simple backyard telescopes. Yet the sky was blank. There was no cloud, no dust, no vapor trail, nothing. To underscore how ridiculous it all was, the Virtual Telescope Project published a side-by-side comparison of 3I Atlas with Comet Lemon, a routine comet shot under the same conditions just days earlier. Lemon acted precisely like a comet should, spewing a bright ghostly tail sculpted by solar radiation. Atlas remained a sharp point of light, compact and blemishless. The two were like life versus marble. One showed all the signs of motion, the other none. For Atlas to accelerate without leaving even the tiniest smudge of detritus in its wake was like seeing a rocket take off without exhaust. Not only did the laws of physics strain, they snapped. By the time Loeb worked the numbers, he figured that, if the acceleration was due to natural outgassing, the ejected gases would shine brighter than the full moon. But shots from November 5th showed nothing remotely approaching such brilliance. Magnitude, color, and symmetry all remained curiously uniform. Gianluca Massi, director of the Virtual Telescope, declared it the most bizarre observation he'd ever seen, especially since the cameras designed to detect even the faintest wisps of dust registered the same answer, 0. By the time it arrived at Harvard, Loeb and his group began reconstructing the physics underlying such acceleration. Based on Atlas's estimated mass of 33 billion tons, nearly 1 million times heavier than the object called Oumuamua, they realized that no natural process could account for the force acting upon it. Solar radiation pressure was too weak. Outgassing was non-existent. Gravity from nearby planets couldn't be a factor at these distances. That left only one remaining explanation: an unknown mechanism. Loeb said that the data had to be taken at face value. If established physics couldn't explain the event, then the theory had to evolve. Few, though, were ready to face what the implications might be. The numbers didn't describe mere movement, they suggested deliberation. The acceleration wasn't random, it was smooth, steady, and perfectly aligned with the sun's position, as if someone or something had carefully dialed it in. The last time anything remotely similar had been observed was with Oumuamua, and this time the effect was stronger, more pronounced, and far more purposeful. As more data flowed in from telescopes all over the world, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. 3i Atlas wasn't breaking just a single rule of physics. It was breaking all of them. The orbital path aligned almost perfectly with the ecliptic plane, within only 5 degrees from the same path followed by Earth and the other planets. An alignment so improbable Loeb described it as hitting a cosmic bullseye while standing in complete darkness. Then came the jet anomaly. A burst of material shot directly toward the sun, the exact opposite direction expected. Typically, solar radiation pushes dust away, causing comet tails to point outward. Yet Atlas defied even this rule, as if it were able to resist or even repel sunlight. Its speed introduced another impossibility. It traveled faster than smaller and lighter bodies such as Oumuamua and Borisov, despite its massive weight, which should have slowed it significantly. Even its brightness curve ignored every established model. While approaching the sun, it brightened at a rate of -7, a level twice as intense as that observed in any known comet. And then came the most shocking feature of all, its color. Instead of icy white or reddish tones, Atlas radiated an electric, spectral blue, hotter than the sun's photosphere. Its surface temperature seemed to surpass 5,800 Kelvin, a condition no natural object can keep without vaporizing. The astronomers segued from confusion to genuine alarm, for if 3i Atlas wasn't behaving according to celestial mechanics, then it was following something else, perhaps an instruction. The spectroscopic readings from James Webb and a series of ground-based observatories only magnified the mystery. The object's composition was unlike any natural comet ever studied. Rather than a chaotic blend of rock, ice, and minerals, Atlas displayed a precise nickel-to-iron ratio identical to that used in engineered high-temperature alloys, materials found in spacecraft and jet engines. Natural processes produce randomness. Atlas seemed refined, balanced, and orderly. The object also contained only 4% water, making it drier than Earth's most arid deserts. This wasn't the dirty snowball comets are known to be. It resembled something crafted rather than frozen. Some researchers began considering whether its outer surface might not be natural at all but rather some type of ceramic or composite coating, one that is heat-resistant, smooth, and highly polished. Such a structure would explain why it reflected light so evenly and showed no cracks or irregularities. That reflection produced another unprecedented anomaly, a polarization signature with mathematically precise alignment of light waves, something never recorded from any natural object. As Loeb remarked, if one were to design a probe capable of surviving billions of years while drifting across the galaxy, it would likely look very much like this. But the revelation that finally silenced even the harshest critics emerged when researchers plotted the object's trajectory. They found that the path of 3i Atlas passed near the orbits of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, but noticeably avoided Earth. Its timing was extraordinary. During perihelion, the moment when it should have been closest to Earth and easiest for observation, it strategically positioned itself behind the Sun, hiding from our instruments. The chances of this being random were so minuscule that several astrophysicists started to suggest that coincidence could no longer explain it. One analyst from NASA's JPL stated simply, "This isn't random. It's deliberate navigation." The idea seemed unreasonable until the math was reviewed. When the orbit was traced backward, it pointed directly toward the same region of space where the famous WOW signal originated in 1977, a narrowband radio burst that SETI researchers have studied for decades. Two strange phenomena emerging from the same cosmic coordinates, separated by decades, felt eerie. Coincidence was possible, but as more data accumulated, the word maybe began sounding increasingly like denial. Every new image released by the Virtual Telescope project further deepened the bewilderment. The object's deep ultraviolet blue glow, that no comet should produce, conflicted with every thermal model scientists attempted. Blue light indicates energy and extremely high temperatures, yet Atlas showed no sign of breaking apart, no infrared heat signature visible, and no observable decay. It seemed to radiate non-thermal light possibly generated by ionized gases or plasma at precise control. Some plasma physicists speculated that Atlas could be using magnetic or electromagnetic propulsion, creating thrust by manipulating solar wind, a kind of technology humanity has only tested in experimental contexts. Others had a very different theory. This might be the relic of a machine built by an ancient civilization, still operating independently long after its builders disappeared. In other words, what humanity was seeing might not be alien technology just as an artifact, but as a mechanism that was still executing its job long after its creators disappeared. This possibility hinted at something that wasn't just alien ingenuity, but alien persistence. And now the countdown grows tense. On December 19, 2025, 3I Atlas will reach its closest approach to Earth, passing at about 167 million miles. This distance is close enough for major telescopes, from Hubble to the Webb, to capture their most detailed images yet. If Atlas is truly a comet, astronomers expect to finally observe the immense gas cloud that physics insists must appear. But if no cloud forms, if Atlas remains the same tight, blue, silent point of light, then the entire comet explanation collapses. What remains is far more unsettling. Could Atlas be a probe, an automated observer studying our solar system as part of an ancient mission? Or could it be something even stranger, a device meant to activate when a planetary civilization reaches the nuclear age, as some speculative scientists fear? For now, no one can say. But every spectral line, every image, every quiet movement recorded in the dark leads toward a single haunting implication: this object might be watching us, and its task might not yet be complete. As new images continue to surface and are passed between observatories and laboratories and countless online communities, the feeling that dominates isn't excitement or wonder. It's unease. The universe has handed us another puzzle that seems to break every rule. And this time, the puzzle seems to be looking back. 3I Atlas continues to drift through the solar system, cold and blue and silent, in defiance of every equation that humanity has come to rely on. It doesn't resemble a comet and doesn't act like an asteroid. It fits none of our carefully constructed categories. It accelerates when logic demands it decelerate. It burns blue when it should glow white. It vanishes from sight when it should shine brightest. Its trajectory feels less a product of randomness than choreography. And yet each new dataset arrives with perfect clarity, sans noise or measurement error, as if the universe wants us to recognize the truth we've tried to avoid. The more humanity learns, the less it understands. Each new image from the Virtual Telescope project only heightens the paradox. The object remains the same compact glowing point of light, steady, calm, and curiously indifferent. It is as though even the sun cannot touch it. Radiation, heat, and gravity slide across its surface like reflections on glass. If it is natural, then it is redefining the meaning of natural. If it is artificial, then it stands as the most groundbreaking discovery humanity has ever faced, proof that we are not the first intelligent beings to cross the stars. Either possibility has already rewritten the world we thought we understood. Because the real question is no longer whether this is a comet. That question died the moment it accelerated without a tail. The real question, the one scientists rarely dare to voice, is simple yet immense: what kind of intelligence engineered something capable of traveling across interstellar space for billions of years, powered by forces we cannot detect, guided by precision we cannot mimic, and still functioning perfectly after eras beyond imagination? What civilization built such a machine? How long ago did they exist? Are they still alive somewhere, or is this object merely a drifting artifact of their memory, an ancient ghost ship continuing its voyage across the cosmic sea? Dr. Avi Loeb warned years in advance that science becomes dogma the instant it refuses to confront anomalies. We cannot claim to seek truth, he said, if we only accept truths that make us comfortable. 3I Atlas is that discomfort, a reminder that the universe has never been obliged to fit within our explanations. The sun does not ask permission to burn. The stars do not need validation to shine. And when something enters our skies that defies every rule, we are supposed to question, not dismiss. Perhaps this is how first contact truly unfolds, not through radio messages or dramatic lights streaking across the atmosphere, but through subtle defiance, through quiet impossibilities that force us to rethink everything. Maybe that is the lesson hidden within Atlas, that discovery is not about conquering the unknown but learning how to face it without fear.